If you're writing two genres in your story, it's important to balance them out. Otherwise, your story will read like a mishmash of elements that don't go together, which is exactly why I wanted to discuss how to balance two genres in your story. Let's get started. Hey guys, Nour here and welcome back to my channel. For those visiting for the first time, hello, I'm the fantasy author of the novel Divinity Falling. Be sure to subscribe for weekly writing advice videos. So I don't know about you, but I think writing a story with multiple genres is really fun. In fact, almost everything I write falls under two genres. For example, Divinity Falling is an urban fantasy, but it could also fall within the romance genre. And because I'm constantly writing stories with two genres, I know a thing or two about balancing them. Now, it is important to remember that every story is different. Two friends might write a horror comedy and end up with a completely different theme, voice, and tone. One friend might decide to make their story full of dark humor, while the other might concentrate more on the horror and use comedy as comic relief. My point is, know the story you want to tell because at the end of the day, only you know what works for you. Stick to your vision and instincts and the process will be easier. So with that said, my first tip for balancing two genres in your story is to have a clear understanding of the genres you want to write. For example, you can't write a romantic murder mystery if you don't understand the elements involved in those separate genres. So read other books in those genres and have a general idea of what those plots look like. Once you've done that, it's time to bring your two genres together. To do this effortlessly, the trick is to blend elements from the two genres that work well together. I'm going to start with an easy example. Let's say you're writing an action-adventure novel, which is a combination of action and adventure. Who knew? We're all familiar with these genres, so much so that we know that they go great together. So when you're planning an action-adventure story, you don't think of the action scenes as separate from the adventure scenes. That's because you think of them in a unified way. Your character is going on an adventure, and during this adventure, they will discover things that lead them to action-heavy scenes, like car chases. And that's exactly how you should think of any two genres you want to combine. So let's say you're writing a fantasy romance. You want the romance to play a role in the fantasy side of the story. Maybe your main character is learning about their magic powers while keeping those powers secret from their love interest. This ties the fantasy aspect with the romance and increases tension. Or maybe the main character's love interest introduces them to the fantasy world. Basically, let your character's love life collide with the fantastical elements. The two genre elements are happening side by side, but they definitely affect each other. Here's another example. Let's say you're writing a sci-fi horror novel. So don't write a horror novel that happens to have a lot of technology, because that wouldn't be a good balance. The two genres elements wouldn't be affecting each other here. Instead, write a story where the horror is tied to the sci-fi elements. For instance, your characters are running away from AI robots who aim to kill them and take over their city. And just like that, you've created balance. You combine the elements in a unified way. So to summarize, in order to balance two genres in your story, know the elements of those genres, know the kind of story you want to write, and blend elements from the two genres that work well together. And if you're not sure if you're blending the elements well, simply ask yourself, do the elements of one genre affect the elements of the other genre? And if they're not affecting each other, then you did not blend them well. For example, if your AI robots are actually nice, but there's a serial killer on the loose, and the two storylines never connect, then you didn't blend those genres well. So that's all I have for you today. I'd love to know, does your current work in progress fall under multiple genres? Let me know in the comments. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I put out weekly writing advice videos that will take your story to the next level. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media to see what I'm up to from day to day and to chat with me. And before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to Sarah Frayne, Alan J. Early, and Noah Kovanti from my shout out tier over on Patreon, as well as all my amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate you. And remember, Nour for president.